approach the Grand Hotel, look to your right and you can see the remains of the old Pier Pavilion Theatre, which opened in 1886 and in its heyday could hold up to 2,000 people. In 1994, homeless people broke in, and being cold, they decided to light a fire, which spiralled out of control and actually burned the whole building to the ground. You can see the old stairway from the Pavilion Theatre, which is still part of the listed building. Just to our right is Llandudno Pier. It's the second pier which has been here in Llandudno. Unfortunately, the first one, built in 1858 from wood, was swept away in a storm in 1859. Although repaired and used for a further 6 years, was too short and could only be used by steamships at high tide. The present pier was opened in 1877 using iron castings and cost £25,000 and is now 2,295 feet inland. In 1969, the landing stage was totally rebuilt in concrete and steel, which enabled it to be used by the largest Isle of Man steamers, which are still in use. We're now passing through a part of Llandudno called Happy Valley. This sheltered dry valley, formerly a copper mining site and later a stone quarry, was landscaped and given to the township of Llandudno by Lord Mostyn in celebration of the Golden Jubilee of Queen Victoria. The Happy Valley Gardens are the starting point of the aerial cabin car to the summit of the Great Orme, which, with a length of over 1 is the longest aerial cableway in the British Isles. Higher up the valley is the Llandudno artificial ski slope.
What was that?
She'll try to put it.
Would it? Now coming up to the toll house, which was built in 1878, and the original toll to go around the marine drive used to cost 1 penny for horse-drawn carts. It's 4.5 miles round until you come through to West Shore. Before Marine Drive was built, there used to be a track going around the Great Orme, which was very narrow and very dangerous. It was built in 1875 through to 1878 at a cost of £14,000. The Great Orme is 1 mile wide and sticks out into the sea by 2 miles and rises to a height of 679 feet. The word Orme comes from the Vikings and means worm or sea serpent. The huge headland is composed of Carboniferous limestone, which began forming around 300 million years ago on a tropical seabed. Fossil remains of creatures that lived during this period are to be found everywhere in this area. If you look over to your right, you can see the Little Orme, which is around 2 miles away and stands at 446 feet high. Many people think it looks a little like an elephant with its trunk in the water. If you look into the distance on your right, you can see that there are some poles. The farm is due to be fully operational by the end of this year and will be named the Mill Flats. Once completed, there are plans to build an even bigger one out there, and it will be closer still to the mainland. However, despite its green credentials, there are protests about Llandudno's church. There's been a church on the site since the 6th century, when a Welsh Christian missionary arrived here and brought Christianity to the area. The original church was replaced in the 12th century by a more solid stone one. In 1839, the roof was damaged by a severe storm, and it was decided not to repair the church, but build a new one nearer the centre of what Look to your right at the two bridges. The furthest away from you is a wrought iron tubular railway bridge, and the closest to you is the Thomas Tully Road Bridge. Trotter was a brilliant engineer and took great care in the building of this bridge by dipping the metal in linseed oil to preserve it. This elegant suspension bridge opened in 1826 and is now in the care of the National Trust and is open to pedestrians only. The bridge beyond it carries the main railway line and was the first of Robert Stephenson's famous tubular designs and officially opened in 1849. He also designed a similar bridge, the Britannia Bridge, across the Menai Strait. The need to build railway bridges both here in Conwy and over the Menai Straits further west was because in 1839 it was decided that Holyhead would become the official port for Ireland. Therefore, the London to Holyhead Railway via Chester needed these bridges to complete the route. The modern bridge that we've just passed over opened in 1958 to ease the increasing flow of traffic passing over Telford Road Bridge. Increased traffic flow in the 60s caused dreadful problems in Conwy, and so a scheme was devised to build a road tunnel under the estuary. As we cross over the next bridge, take a look down to your left, and you can see the vehicles disappearing into the tunnel. Construction of this massive project began in 1986 and is made up of 6 large prefabricated reinforced concrete units. A casting basin was created and a trench for the sections was excavated. These sections were then floated